Folks, we are live. Holy shit, I hit the mark. Thereby ruining the hitting the mark because I told you I hit the mark.
Hey, you blew the record. We should be on time.
Yeah, no, we're never on time. Well, it's 2 minutes. Well, what's 2 minutes amongst friends? Folks, we are live. This is the random party generator or the random generator party, depending on how I think I'm feeling on a given week. Stage right is none other than Rob Blackmarsh Conley, or is it Points of Light, or is it the only man in the last 10 years to do successful work on?
I am not walking into that one.
All right.
Well,
But
we know
considering
it's not.
the title of my setting is Majestic Fantasy Realm, so
Yeah,
Okay.
we know it's not Majestic Wilderlands or the Wilderlands of High Fantasy guy anymore.
We will get to that. We will get to that. Below me, that doesn't sound right, but directly under whatever is none other than Joe the lawyer.
At least you didn't say power button.
Yeah.
Yep.
And playing the role of the pimped out potato is none other than our very own Greg Christopher.
I am the Russet Lord.
He is the Russet Lord. You shall have no Russet Lords before him.
God, getting deep Catholic there. God, Eric with the beard. First of all, in the appearances department there, looking good, shaving it.
Got a hair.
Dare say, it looks like you lost a couple pounds due to the beard.
Well,
I don't know if you maybe lost it either, but you know.
Probably lost a pound from all the hair that got cut off last weekend.
All right.
Right after my birthday, my hair came off. My precious.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. I'm like who was it? Samson, who hated getting his hair cut.
Yeah. Samson and Delilah.
If I get my hair cut, I'll lose all my strength.
Yeah.
I look so much younger when I get my hair cut. But
You have strength?
No, not at all. I think at this point in my life, I'm lucky if I'm still a 10 and a half, the actual average strength. It's the stenosis in the shoulder and the torn ligaments in this hand. We're not going to do the Glenn show. All right, we're not going to do.
This is why I'm happy to be the younger one here.
Yeah, we're not going to do the. Oh my God, I got to tune out because the old men are talking about how they're all dying.
Yeah, before the show, Greg was talking about how he's doing this new design, this and that, and I'm thinking to myself, new systems he's talking about. I'm like, good for him that he's still young enough to be able to learn a new system. You know, really.
It better be damn close to what I already know.
Exactly.
And haven't forgotten. It's like I'm probably no longer going to be able to go back to even Merc, Middle Earth role playing.
Yeah.
Because I probably can't remember all the little bitty pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's bad enough for me trying to relearn RuneQuest.
I have a secret for how to deal with that.
Uh-oh.
I rewrite the rule book. I mean,
dude,
actually,
doesn't help me any.
I make reference cards for it, so I have everything at my fingertips because I can't. I find that it's hard for me, even the stuff I already know, to flip through the rule book when I know how to make cards now that just say, oh, you want to know what the advantages are? Flip, flip, flip. There you go. Rather than looking it up in the main rule book. So when I make those up, I effectively wind up learning the system.
That's half the reason I house rule it, because when I have to know it to house rule it, right? So I go through it, and the house ruling of it itself actually puts it into my brain. Then I get confused as to which is the rule, my rule or their rule, but at least I know there's a rule.
Well, all right, so here, before we delve into the newsworthy stuff, since we're already touching on this, for me as a player / GM, I'm willing to, as a player, play just about any system. Playing the Aliens RPG was a fucking blast, and I picked up on that real quick as a player. I could never run it as a GM because I don't believe that my knowledge of the rules allow it to go seamlessly, and I expect a game session that I run to be fairly seamless. So that limits me to basically OSR systems, particularly ones that I've written. So, I mean, I'm just being honest about that. So now, I mean, I'm going to toss this initially at Greg, because Greg is the one I know that runs and writes the most varied systems of any of the game designers that we talk with.
It's true. I always talk about a new game or a new system.
Yeah.
An old one that I never learned that he's learning now for the first time.
Now, admittedly, he's like almost a generation younger than the old fucks in this room. But how you are comfortable? Is it a language skill or a technical skill? I'm just curious.
Well, for me, it's I have so many books that I haven't read that what you're saying seems ludicrous to me. But
Okay.
assuming that you're right and that I am running a higher volume of games and that kind
More
of stuff.
varied
to me,
systems. You're very comfortable
to
with
me, it's a matter of I'm game to learn something as a player, especially
Mm-hmm.
just to say, okay, I've tried that. Like I also watch a lot of YouTube videos where somebody will talk about the system and say, this is what, I watch some actual plays. So it comes in, but it is really hard. I think one of the biggest things that's a barrier to what you're talking about is the
Age.
absolute obtuse nature in which a lot of people write role-playing games. I mean,
Tell me about it.
yeah. I mean, some texts are so dense that you have to really already be on board to know what they're talking about, and it just it sucks. You have to get through that. But for me,
I blame Tim for it. Ever since he taught me how to write tersely, and now I just it's just like watching movies that the subject matter of, like for me watching a space movie, oh, that's inaccurate. Well, now when I'm reading game books, I'm thinking, well, he could have said that in 2 sentences. He could have said that in 3 seconds. He didn't need a whole page. That was a paragraph.
They got paid by the word, though, probably. That's really it. I think a lot of these
Some
game
do, yeah.
designers are used to getting paid by the word for things, and they just never learn that terse style, and so they just carried over to their own personal games, their own personal modules, the things they're putting out on their own because they never learned the right way to do it.
There's also just people are bad in general at teaching. I mean, my day job involves making things to teach adults. Okay, like in corporate positions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get into that, specifics on that, but I mean, it's different when you're teaching an adult than when you're teaching a kid. It's different when you're teaching somebody something that's kind of they already know in a peripheral capacity. You're just teaching them another element versus teaching them something new, whole cloth. I mean, there's different ways of doing that. And in general, like I've seen materials come in for us to redesign. My firm is like a consulting firm that works with a lot of different clients, and we'll see stuff that is in use at Fortune 500 companies that is horrible, like just absolutely insane. That it's hard to even believe that they were using. Like how could this be in use at this company?
Yeah.
But it's because people are just really. It's rare to get somebody who can really teach something effectively. And like there's a guy, Seth something, that runs a YouTube channel that has all these videos on Traveler, and he
Is that
Sarkowski, something like that.
Whatever the hell it is.
He really connects with people. Like he really does a great job of presenting it. And I can watch somebody else present the same content, and it's boring and flat. I mean,
I can't watch him, Greg. That's funny you say that.
Oh, really?
I unsubscribe to him. I subscribe. I try him out. I unsubscribe like 2-3 different times because he talks so fucking slow. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know what Midwest state he's from, but he talks slowly, and I just
you are a dirty Yankee. I don't know what to tell you.
I feel like who was that guy? Say it. Who's that comedian? Just get it out, motherfucker. Yeah. God, I don't know. I think there's a lack of writing ability too. Like the Hemingway style is not taught anymore. Brief to the point.
No, certainly not. But listen, look at Gygax's initial writings. Was it brief and to the point? No.
Yeah.
He definitely enjoyed waxing poetic as he wrote what could have been much more concise, which is why I think things like OSC are so popular now, is that you're taking things that were, I'll say it, overwritten, and you are making them more presentable to where even 5e players can look at it and go, "Holy shit, I could play this.
Yeah.
This makes sense. It's presented in a way that I can."
Well, I don't think BX, Madavi and Cook was overwritten, but
But
what
OSC,
the Necrotic Gnome crew did, they did, a beyond stellar job with
Yeah,
the layout of the book.
layout, everything. Sam Kinison, you're right, Tim. Tim Shorts is here. Godrich
Yeah.
Manor. Sam Kinison. Yep.
So I mean, that he really if somebody wants an example of good layout in an RPG, look at OSC.
right. No, and that is certainly true. And by the way, I'm gonna do a little pimping here, folks.
Uh-oh.
Even though I'm not the Rusted Lord, that link will take you to the current Humble Bundle for the Fantasy OSC bundle, which has a lot of Frog God releases for Swords and Wizardry, including the Lost Lands setting book, which is possibly worth the price of admission on its own. Rap and Athic. Oh my God, which oh God, Canadian Greg. It's not Barrow Maze. It's not as high. I think it's Highfell. I think Highfell's included in that.
Gillespie?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's also a large amount of OSC products, including the core rules, the advanced rules, a bunch of adventures.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole line of adventures from Pacesetter Games that are solos that'll fit in perfectly with OSC. So if you go there, you spend a little money, you put a little money in your bartender's pocket as a tip, you wouldn't even realize it. So I'm just throwing that out there, folks, because I think it's got just under 2 weeks to go. And if you like Campaign Cartographer for your mapping program, or you were always tempted by it, you can get it for I think $30 and
Even if you don't plan on using Campaign Cartographer itself, the add-ons for it can be reused in a lot of different programs.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. So
I got all add-ons, but I use Incarnate because it's dumbed down for people like me, so, it's simple.
A lot of their symbol libraries and fills are just simple JPEGs or PNG files. So you can go rooting through the Pro Fantasy folders and find them and then use them in Incarnate or whatever.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, Thomas, you make a good, interesting point there because I was just thinking something. The terse style, the economy words 5 to 7 to 7. Well, I think a lot of writers back in the day started out as journalists, either magazines or newspapers or short story writers and this and that, and they're used to a certain word limit. They're used to like as Tim said to me, Joe, you got X amount of words, and I'm like, I give them back somewhat double. Joe, you got X amount of words. You have to scale it back, and you got to keep it within a budget, right? And so a lot of these guys are used to writing in a very terse style. Whereas now, who writes for newspapers and magazines or, short stories in a magazine? You're not doing that, right? So you're used to writing what? You're coming out of college, you're writing a 50-page essay, and the longer it is, the better the grade you got, right? So you're coming out of that with that kind of mentality. And then you go pay by word kind of thing, and the publisher's like, hey, the more the better, right? We can bump this up from 64 to 128 pages now, and they're making more money off it, even though it's shit. Right. So, yeah, I think that might be just a lack of the background. People aren't doing it as a profession as much anymore. So that's what you get, Yeah. Matt Jackson chatting in the background, but not joining us, you mofo. What's going on, man?
He's got to get up.
There must be a ladder nearby.
Oh, shit.
But he has the dice. He can make a saving throw. Throw them and
true.
land on them, and they form instant saving throw cushions.
Rob's talking about there was this. We're of course busting his balls for falling off a ladder. That'll never end. But we're talking about making a saving throw.
Wait until Shiracon.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. But Matt brought up somebody brought up about these foam foot size, foot across dice, and Rob's like, you could actually make it literally saving throw. Throw it at the ground before you fall and land on it.
I like those biking airbags, man. You fall off your bike and it blows out to create a helmet around your head.
I've never seen this shit.
I never either.
Oh yeah, I just saw it this morning.
Yeah, you wear it like a collar, and then if you fall off your bike, it's designed for New Yorking type biking people.
Wow.
And when you fall off, it senses that you're moving too fast, for whatever, I don't know how it works exactly, but then it explodes like an airbag and puts a cushion around your head. So then when you hit the ground, like there was a video of a guy hitting a wall, like, and before he could even get over the handlebars, it was already expanded out over his head.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
It's like a padded hood.
Yeah.
You know, it inflates, and then it forms a hood around your head.
It's interesting.
No, it would suck if you're riding a bike and you hit a bump and somehow
Yeah, I know, really.
and now you can't even see where the
Yeah.
F you're going. Hey, I'm trying to keep us monetized for this episode.
Well, have we ever been
I
monetized?
I think as long as we don't show a video,
Yeah, no kidding. They
if we don't
busted
show a
our balls for
video,
that.
we got like a 50-50 chance. If we don't have Matt Jackson on, we're probably pretty good.
Yeah.
So if Matt doesn't show up today, we're probably safe. The moment Matt shows up, I don't know. He does something with the algorithm. Yeah, Matt starts talking about ladders, and they read ladders as like a euphemism, something else. He's talking about those damn ladders. It's like I think, oh, all right, there we go. Demonetized. Thank you, Matt Jackson.
Hey, did you guys back Zine Quest for anything this year? I for
not.
some reason I have not backed a goddamn. Last year we had a whole Zine Quest thing, people coming on, right? I took all the recommendations and I was backing what you guys were saying, and I didn't back a freaking thing this year.
See, Candyman.
Oh God, there it is. No, now we're done. It's over.
There we go.
Sorry, I'm late.
Sorry,
I didn't want to. There we go. Please don't stand up any taller. We'll see your tighty whities, and that will get us definitely demonetized. Oh, we can't hear him. This is the best appearance ever of Matt. We can't hear anything you're saying. All right.
I had the video on. I was listening to it, and I couldn't get it to turn off for some reason. So I didn't want you guys to have this like terrible echo going.
Echo.
Yeah. So, Matt's joining. Rob is sort of the man of the week right now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Rob killed it. Rob, you want to intro that, Rob? What's going on?
Well, we all went down on early 2020 when Bob led.
You might need to give them the long story short, because there are some people who have not been watching this channel and may not know
the heresy.
Yeah, no. Heresy. So
what it turned out that Bob Bledsaw the second, that is the son of the Bob Bledsaw who worked with Bill Owens and his crew to put out Judges Guild stuff in the early 70s and the early 80s. His son, who now owns the IP, turns out his social media feed on Facebook is a dumpster fire, and both racist and anti-Semitic posts were found, and they were just infrequent enough that if you were friends with him, the chances are they wouldn't come up. And one day it popped up, and I said, "What the hell?" And I started looking through his feed, and okay. So I called him, talked to him, and after talking to him, it was a polite conversation, but it left me not wanting to work with the IP anymore, as long as he owned it.
Right, and let's just take a step back. Rob was producing the maps that were promised for the Kickstarter that has so far been unfilled. You were also working on like the City State source book, right?
No, I tried. When I say I was working on it, I was working on trying to get his trust to let me do something similar what I did to the Waterlands, because at that point, two people comes up to me, "Hey Rob, look, I did City State, not for Pathfinder. None of them were for Pathfinder, but they reformatted it, and I got. I'll show it up later, but somewhere here I got floating around a 3-ring binder that somebody used my map, the original text, and made a book out of it.
Wow.
And another guy sent me a Word doc that had everything written out and nicely formatted. And after Bob II took over, and there was a brief period of time of a couple months where I could see him because he shared his working folder with me. I could see him working on the file that was going to make up City State, and then all of a sudden it stopped. And I wasn't going to rock the boat, so I tried to cajole him into letting me do. After I got the last Waterland, I was working on getting him his trust to get moving on the City State stuff. And then I saw his social media post, and I was like, no way, no.
Bottom line, Rob, you were owed money by this guy, and then you were selling things under the license you had still. So I think the gist of it is,
I was owed money for doing the last 9 map of the Waterland, but we settled that before this all went down. In 2018, out of the blue, he said, "Hey, Rob, I owe you some money on the Waterland. How about if I forgo your 10% royalty until that's paid off?" And I mean, he was so nice about it that he even set an amount. I had to do that later, because it's got it. That it would have been a finite amount if we just didn't do it at the time. And so when with this down, I mean, I wanted my money. So I mean, I said, "Look, I am going to continue to tally the deferred royalty, and when they exceed the amount I owed, which at the time was $1,100, then I will take everything down to sale." And the truth, I was tracking things every quarter, and I guess I had a little bit better than normal sale second quarter of 2022, because Bob Bledsaw out of the blue texted me and said, "Hey, Rob, isn't your what you owe me satisfied?" And I said, "Okay, I'll get to the report right now." And that's when I found out there was only $90 remaining. And that said, okay, well, I promised people that I would let them know when it was about to go.
Right.
And the way it worked out with drive-throughs cut and then his 10%, I thought, okay, that's going to be it's going to take triple the amount of normal traffic in order to meet that in 2 weeks, less than a month. Boy, I was wrong about that. It took 2 days. 3 days. 3 days.
I hopped on there real quick. I'm like, oh, let me check. And it was like, shit, there was one thing I didn't have. Everything else, I didn't have one PDF of one thing. And I'm like, shit, let me get it now for $7 before I can't buy it no more. But Tim is right. Rob handled like a champ. Rob managed the choppy waters of the current situation. Let's just say that. And nobody's pissed at him and nobody hates him. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a fucking achievement.
I ran into a few, but they find it because the whole secret is focus on specific people doing specific shitty things. Don't worry about the general case. Don't worry about what society. Focus on what the guy does. And that's what I did. And and after I talked to Bledsaw on that phone call, I didn't make a post prior to that. I talked to him. I gave the man a chance to hash it out. And I was so shocked about the implication. It really took my wife, Kellyanne, to get me in gear about thinking about the exact steps I need to do, because I didn't want to. I had plans, and but once I got that, I called Bob. The conversation was polite, but didn't leave me happy. And so that's when I made my decision. Then I told the Fraud God people, and then I told Goodman Games, who turned out already knew that his social media fee was a dumpster fire, which I wasn't particularly happy about.
Is that public knowledge that they actually knew that?
I don't know, and I don't care. I mean, if somebody asked me what happened in what order it was, I sent Joseph an email, and he replied to me saying, "Oh yeah, I know his social media fee is a dumpster fire."
Remember Goodman Games when this first became the burning bag of dog feces. Goodman Games did their best tap dance to not even address it, and totally did a presentation where they just kind of dodged around it and talked about working with Janelle Jaquez
Yeah.
and this and that, and then and people, and it wasn't just me, but my PMs after that went live at whatever convention it was, my PMs were crazy because people were like, Goodman Games isn't going to address this when their license, when Frog God came out and addressed it right away. But
yeah, you guys blew it all. You guys blew it up, and then that's when I made my post.
Yeah, I mean, because you can't allow shit like that. I mean, my feeling, and I don't have any inside knowledge. My feeling, the way Goodman responded with their very well-written legalese type of way of addressing it, is that they knew it was going to be a bag of shit at some point and had an answer ready and waiting to go. Kind of like Jameson Stone kind of knew that his situation was going to blow up at some point and had a legalese answer ready to go. They had an answer. They knew it was going to happen.
This is what my reply on. Thanks for passing this on, Rob. I have received multiple customer complaints about this in the past. Bob's Facebook feed is a very unfortunate place. It's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, I didn't think to tell us?
No.
Yeah.
No, because
Making money.
right now, as I eat a piece of cheese, what surprised me about all this too is that when this went down, Frog God Games was releasing Teagle Manor, and Teagle Manor was pretty much whatever was raised on the Kickstarter was all they were going to get. That was done. It was over and done, and they actually took Bob to arbitration because they had binding arbitration with him over their contract. And it's the first time that I know of, it's happened since, but it's the first time I know of that the tavern was the blog was referred to, in this case by both sides. I don't know why Bob was referring to anything at the tavern like it would help him, but because I had already collated all of his stuff, and it was being used by Ty Beard as part of the arbitration process to show how he violated what was their public relations aspect. So it was interesting for me to find out later on. It's like, oh, wow, gee, I made an appearance without even knowing. Not bad.
So, Rob, you did a follow-up post with now that that's done, right? A much quicker follow-up post than you thought you had to write. Now that that's done,
what's sooner?
Yeah, what's going on, man? What's your plans? Pimp yo shit, man. Pimp yo shit.
Well, I have been working, and I showed the map here on previous chats, and I can show it again. But I've been working on Into the Majestic Fantasy Realm, which takes Black Marsh, the Wild North, and Southland from my points of light and combines them. And there's new material too. I mean, it's not. It doesn't fit together in a nice rectangle, the original map. So I had to flesh it out. And I designed a format to work with Drive-Thru RPG's 12-inch by 18-inch posters. And I drew a sketch of a larger setting, and placed everything I've done so far, and even some things I haven't published that I can use, that I can build on, so that in the future, when I make these maps, these products, it's consistent in the way that the Widerland consistently joined each together, because I didn't draw the Widerland in 18 individual map. I drew it as one big 5-foot, 8-foot map and cropped out 18 maps from it. So this is, even larger. And I guess I'll just
Share the screen there.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding.
It's very detailed though. The shit's like it's the real deal, and it's all unique. That's the cool thing about it. So if you liked the Wilderlands, the high fantasy, and all the other stuff, which I call it Wilderlands, I don't know why. I guess you say Wilderlands.
I always did too.
Yeah. What's the real? You must have talked to Bledsoe, Rob. How do you say it? What's the official way to say this freaking setting's name?
No, it's Widerland. It's one of those English words that people.
Tomato kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
It's exactly like tomato.
I don't know who says tomato, so if they say tomato, they're wrong.
All right.
Well, it
So,
goes back to Drower Dro. Let's get real here, you know.
Well, that's more important. But tomato.
I know. Drower Dro is the real battlefront. You know, I think Dro, personally. I think that's what Gygax said was Dro originally, but, you know. But then he skims, oh, you can say however you want. No, it's Dro, mofo. Okay.
so this is the Majestic Fantasy Realm, the entire map. All the areas in white you see are the maps that I have currently done or either published or unpublished. And as you can see, there is the Wild North. It was the Southern Edge modified from the original. There is Black Marsh. There is Southland, and this is all the extra stuff that is going to be in there, which that is actually pretty much done.
What is that, Rob, in terms of scale? Those
hexes are 5 mile hexes.
So that's what, about a couple hundred miles across each way, right?
All right. Well, I'll fire this up while I show you the other thing, and then you can. I'm probably biting off from more than I can chew, but this is like 90% done. This is what the map. So these are going to be the 4 maps. These borders that you see.
Yeah.
So each of the this it's a 12-inch by 18 poster map from drive-through. This is a 12-inch by 18-inch, 12-inch. So I'm going to be offered four referee maps, 4 player maps. Could have been told by numerous people like Gabberlux that I should have player maps. And then I'll probably have 1 or 2 additional poster maps, but they'll have town maps on them. The town maps will be in the book, but I'll have a poster map of them too. So it'll be a bunch of town map on the same sheet.
Well, that's the whole shebang, Rob, or is that the inset we were looking at there?
No, this is going to be the first product, a 4-map product. Just like I had the Waterlands of High Fantasy came with 5 maps. Well, this is going to come with 4 maps plus the.
Now, I'm saying is of that big ass map you showed us before, what portion? What did you just show us? How much of that was on that big ass map? In other words. Yeah. So we
that's
what I'm trying to get at, guys. That's the point I'm trying to make here. So look at the detail in there.
So I got it up. So if you notice, this is slightly fuzzy because if you notice, I have a 5 mile. This is a 5 mile hex grid, and it's not just a 5 mile hex grid. It's a 5 mile hex grid with everything drawn at print size. So we're talking a 1/4-inch hex. No, a 1/2-inch hex. So this is
nice.
So what I do is I draw it on here first, and then I crop it out. So eventually, when I get enough of this filled out, I'll be able to share this with people. And if they're crazy enough to go to a banner shop, and they want to get this whole thing printed out, sure. I mean, you can go. I mean,
I know Greg's having a heart attack with his 24-inch mile hexes that he's using. He's like, Mother God.
Right. Are you gonna?
But if you want some comparison,
anybody can do what they want, man.
There's the Greyhawk map underneath it, if you guys can see it.
All right. So that's the entire Greyhawk map. That's your entire world. So it's a little smaller than the entire Greyhawk map. All right, good to know. That's
another interesting thing here is the map of Europe for comparison.
Okay. That's cool, man.
So I found a map to figure out what the scale was.
What game world is Europe in?
Papers and Paycheck. If you play the modern D20 version.
Lamentations, right?
Yeah, and Pundit's been putting out shit like Dark Albion is set in the War of the Roses, right? So yeah, there's a few things there. Yeah, that's good.
I would say it's set in a fantastic world of War of the Roses, because the French, where France is a nation of literal frog people.
Oh.
That sounds historical to me.
Do they carry white flags and only run in reverse?
We just lost our 2 French listeners.
So
Oh,
so anyway,
I
they're
love
very-
France and visited Paris this year. Don't quit on us.
Oui, oui,
All right.
coucou, caca.
Now, it ain't just
Alright.
your maps, though, Rob. It's not just a setting. You're putting out a fantasy game for this, right?
Right. And 1 second, there's one last thing I'll need to show you.
I'm really tempted.
What?
So now you see this rectangular grid. Those are all the 12-inch by 18-inch maps.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
pro tip to anybody thinking about doing this:
You're insane.
these coastlines for now, anything that I haven't published, the coastlines are suggestions. I am not going to publish a map where that is the only thing you will get. What I will do at some point when it comes to detailing this region, I will clip the coastline here and maybe tilt it a little bit so the 4 maps are it makes better use of the space. And so that way, it avoids the map, like this map here. It will avoid this map here where you have just only this little corner. And so somebody buys this and they go, "What the hell is
The hell's that? Yeah.
It's pushing on me."
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So the next thing is it's going to be my Majestic Fantasy RPG, and
Swords and Wizardry base, right?
Yep, it's 100% compatible with Swords and Wizardry. It's Swords and Wizardry with addition, and I don't have any cool graphics with it, but I can show you up here. I got the basic rules done. The next one is going to be the Manual of Pursuant Skill, which is going to be the player's handbook for the Majestic Fantasy RPG. And the Calm Joe Down, I'm actually going to make that a subtitle, so people are clear that it's the player's handbook. And then I'll have the Domesday Combat Codec, which is like Doomsday.
Right, we cleared that up one night too.
Right. Now, in that case, my enunciation is wrong. So this is just like a monster manual, but it's nothing but NPCs, and it's not going to be like the old-time Rogues Gallery, which kind of like try to pack a lot of characters. No, this is going to have entries like it's going to detail bandits and I got an example.
I thought you had something for it.
Yeah, So this was kind of like a test run. So bandit explains what bandits are, just like the monster manual explain what orcs are, what a dragon is, what are fairies like, and then I give individual bandits, and I try to put little tidbits of what life is like a bandit, a bandit archer, a bandit who was once a peasant militiaman and managed to keep his short bow and dagger. And then I go into brigands and explain what the difference between a brigand and a bandit. A brigand is still a criminal, but basically they're professional soldiers who have turned to highway robbery.
Didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
Actually learned something tonight.
And then I end up in this particular document with explaining like the rural thieves guild, so the rural fed. When these guys get their loot, how do they sell it? Well, there's a tinker guy who goes around and buys it and transports it to the city.
So let me nutshell it, Rob. You're coming out with a setting in pieces, and over time, you're coming out with a new RPG, which is going to have a PHB, a monster manual, and a DM guide, right?
Right.
And what else? There was one other book in there, right?
Right, and there's going to be adventures. There's going to be a revised version of Scourge of the Demon Wolf. I only have to replace one chapter to turn it into a Majestic Fantasy Realm adventure.
Yeah.
And of course, the Siege of the Russet Lord. You guys the ridicule may ensue now.
We can't because Greg's little picture is covered by St. Cuthbert right now. Otherwise, I would.
Hold on a second. Rob, are you done with the share screen? Can I close it?
I think we're done now.
There we are. The Russet Lord has arrived, Mr. Potato Head.
The Russet Lord.
You ran us through this adventure, man, and we
The
were like,
original
"What the fuck
gangsta."
is it?" We were like, "What is this Russet Lord shit?" We're all talking. The only thing we knew about russet was potatoes, and Rob knew it was a color. So, associated with autumn.
He used
a russet
lightning on us, so technically we were baked.
That's true. That's true.
This is true. Yep. I took out the entire party. Well, I took out half the party, and the Russet Lord told the other half, take your friend's body and get out of my domain.
Yeah. That was only a 3d6 lightning bolt before we started busting his balls about the name of the module. After that, it became a 36d6 lightning bolt. So saying.
You rolled a nat 20? All right. Well, sorry, man. Half damage still fries you.
And if anybody's listening in at ShireCon, you can experience the adventure yourself. There looks like to be still two slots open.
Are there? I thought you filled up. A couple of
there was a couple that dropped it for some reason.
Okay.
So
it's like classes in college. You grab them to have something, then you swap if you can get something else.
I was surprised when I found out that my game was filled within I don't know, half an hour.
It was instant. I mean, Jesus. And Matt Jackson's going to make an appearance finally coming out of the Midwest to go to ShireCon, right, Matt?
Yep.
You're going to play in what games?
I wanted to get in Eric's. I didn't
it was filled up.
attention enough, so I went with my second choice, which was Rob's game. So I'll be in Rob's game.
We're going to be playing in the same game. Me and you are in Rob's morning game.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So we're going to.
I will kick you under the table repeatedly.
Yep, and absolutely. I brought my spike boots. We're good. Did you figure out your dice? You got to bring the right dice. Every convention, you got a special dice for it. You may have to find a good new set, man.
Nah, I'm not a dice whore like some of y'all.
Oh God, you got to have dice. Tim is.
I'll bring my big dice. I really like.
Well, that's because you need because we're old and our eyes suck.
Can't see. Yeah.
I always bring dice I don't mind about losing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I might do that. That's probably smart. These cost a hell of a lot. They're out of Spain.
Yeah,
Spain.
I have dice that are my original dice. I will not bring them to a con.
Maybe I'll just go in as a dice virgin and buy dice. Can you buy stuff before the first game?
Probably, but bring a set just so you have it.
Yeah,
I probably will.
I got plenty here. Yeah. Matt and Rob are sleeping over my house. It's gonna be I'm gonna have a slumber party here.
Party time,
sausage party,
slumber party, huh?
Slumber party. It's gonna be
this dice is my favorite. It's the magic missile dice.
All right.
The +1 is already built in.
That's pretty cool, actually. I gotta say.
3 middle-aged men. So I'm going to suggest everybody bring earplugs or headphones or something.
We're walking in different rooms. Matt's got the couch. Rob brings his own weird bed. Have bed will travel. I don't know what the hell that is. And I got my bed. And we're all shutting doors. So.
Oh, okay. Well, listen. I love Bad Mike, and I joke that he's my once a week work spouse. And he is somebody who can finish my sentences for me. But my first Gary Con was sharing a room with Mike and Zach. And Zach, I'm like, Zach was nice. He took the floor with an air mattress. I was like, okay, I'm getting a bed. This is cool. And I'm like, why are you putting on headphones? He goes, you don't know? I go, no. What? You'll know.
Headphones, Jesus Christ.
Next day I'm like, we gotta go to Walmart. I need to get earplugs or something. I'm like an actual spouse where if they start to snore, you can just elbow them.
Yeah.
Tell them to roll over.
I just take off my hearing aids, so
you're good to go. How many CPAP machines are we gonna have running in this house? Should I get a little boost to the circuit breaker? Are we all good?
Yeah.
I know I got one. Right, you, Matt?
I don't use mine.
No, you don't use it, Rob. You got one, right?
I may or may not bring mine.
I can't do it without it. Snore a little. Yeah.
I gotta say, I not to get into the old guy conversation here, but from losing some weight, and that cut my snoring down immensely.
I agree. I lost 80 whatever pounds now, and I got like, this. I had this app on my phone to track how many times my sleep was interrupted at night because of blah blah blah, right? From the CPAP machine, and you speak, a couple times. Now it's like 0.5, 0.7. So yeah, it's good per hour. You know what I mean? So
okay, yeah,
it's not bad.
So the main reason I like my CPAP is because ever since I got it, I never got a lower lung infection from having a bad cold.
Okay.
I could feel it. It was weird. I like every third cold, I start hacking up stuff, and it never turned into anything serious. But it was, you were sick.
Yeah.
And then I started noticing after using the CPAP, it wasn't happening anymore. And I was like, and then I didn't say I wouldn't keep track of it, but I paid attention. This is really freaking nice.
Yeah.
So I was sold on the CPAP after that, and it did cut down on my snoring.
Meantime,
so my family was sold on the CPAP after that.
Well, there you
Greg's
go.
like, these old bastards. What the hell am I doing? What group did I join?
I can't believe I play with these fools. Oh, God.
Greg, what are you doing with Traveler? You're trying to explain it to me, and my brain broke because, as we said, I can't think of new games I have never done before.
You know what? You never played Traveler?
I didn't. Man.
God!
I never did. That's why I
Okay.
couldn't understand what the hell you were talking about. Before.
So Traveler has a unique system.
I know it's the game that
creation.
as you roll characters, you can die within character creation.
Yeah,
that's all I know about it.
Right. The original, I think.
Joe, I have a character generator up, and so you can try it and see exactly what happens.
Yeah. So Traveler breaks down time into 4-year increments, and you don't start out as like a fresh-eyed 18-year-old kid. Okay, so you start out at 18 with some base level skills, and you go through time in 4-year jumps. And each time you follow a path through some tables, and you can possibly die. You can get injured. If you get injured enough, you can die, so on. And the way that they do it, both in the classic sense and in the mongoose version, there's just two different kinds. I feel they're trying to bring in a lot of different things, but it becomes really hard to teach a new player. Okay, like it's just too complicated. In the same way, I would say the exact same thing about Ars Magica. Okay, it's just too complicated to bring in a brand new person. It requires a ton of investment from the person up front. So, I have a game group on Saturday night that we run Traveler. The prospect of recruiting a few new people for the next campaign was kind of like, but then we'd have to train, we'd have to teach them on all this stuff. And so I started thinking about like, how would I do it differently if it was my thing? And so I just started working on a solution with just kind of all the IP elements rubbed off. And I put it together. So basically, instead of a very complicated way that they handle university and stuff in the Mongoose version, I have it so when you turn 18, you choose from 6 broad life paths, like going into higher education, going into the military, going into a regular job, becoming a criminal, etc. And then
it's like in real life.
Yeah, and then you go through your first 4-year term is in like you're in your first tour of duty in the military or whatever, and then at the end of that you pick one of 18 careers for that path. So like if you're in the military, it's the clearest one for everybody to see. There's an Army branch with 6 different Army jobs. There's a Navy branch with 6 different Navy jobs. These are Space Navy, not Water Navy.
Yeah.
And then there's like a support option that you could get. So with 6 years, so there's a ton of different jobs. You might end up in armored vehicles. You might end up in military police. You might end up in whatever. Whereas in the original Traveler, it's just you're in the Army.
Yeah.
Right. There's 3 different kind of flavors of the Army, but that's it. And So I'm kind of making it so that at each level, it's giving you more kind of world building as a part of the roles. So instead of you get an enemy, it's your commanding officer gets blamed for a mistake that he thinks was your fault. So he becomes the rival for you. You know, this happened. So that the player doesn't have to invent all those details.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I also made the system so that you can go through it without making any choices. You can only roll dice if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, if somebody does, you can make a pre-gen in 2 minutes because you just roll the die, just ding, 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 and you just go down and it gives you everything you need. And instead of giving you, here's 5,000 credits, it says, here's a laser rifle that you found in the back of the APC that one of the Spec Ops guys had left behind.
Now you genericized that shit, what you said, right?
So, so I'm trying to make it so that it's just something that would be more usable and able to bring in new players. That's kind of the two goals that I have. And I'm good with layout. We talked about that some prior episodes. So I also have tried to design it so that it's as readable and flowing as possible. I can do a screen share here in a second.
Right. Them old bastards talking about snoring. Yep.
I had to step away for more wine, so I hope I wasn't missed.
No.
I could do that.
So here, this is the armored vehicles branch of the military that I've written because it's A. I'm at the front, and you can see it's a much easier flow than in actual Traveler. You roll twice off of these two tables.
Which edition of Traveler?
Mongoose for comparison.
I would.
So so you roll a dice here. You roll a dice here. You roll for performance. If it's a success, you go over here. If it's a failure, you stay on and you roll for a mishap. And then it gives you a new career that you're washing out to, and then or you can stop. If it goes,
sorry, man. Look at Matt. Look at Matt's comment.
I can't see Matt.
63-page rule book. Add Greg. 750-page rule book.
Well, Matt doesn't like details.
I know.
Matt likes Index Card RPG, which I bought.
That's not true. I just don't. If I don't know. Never mind.
No. Story. You can rebut after this.
Yes.
So I want to after this. I want to show what classic Traveler looks like.
All right.
So
definitely want to hear Matt's butt.
Roll for events. You roll for benefits. You roll if you're getting too old, and you can either restart it or go on to the next thing. Now, here's an example. In Mongoose, you might roll that you gain an ally, right? So here I have that your unit's given a new pharmaceutical. It doesn't work, but you fall in love with the medical researcher that developed it. So now you have an ally who's a medical researcher. You kind of know what kind of pharmaceuticals they might be making, but later you could tie them into the story. And the player doesn't have to come up with that detail, right? So if you ran that through and gave it to a brand new player, they can understand who this character is. Whereas if you tell this brand new player, hey, come up with an ally, and they've never played Traveler before, they don't know. Then you have to have the GM carrying all that weight or other players stepping in to help.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of where I'm at. Now, Matt hates paper, right. I think.
Let's hear Matt's butt.
No, I don't have anything. I'm curious, since you're dealing with military and your armored vehicle, have you had anybody in the military actually review your details?
Oh, throwdown. That's a throwdown.
No, but my brother's in the Marines. My father-in-law's ex-Air Force.
Okay.
And
wait,
I have
did they look at your document, or are you just claiming expertise by proximity?
I'm just saying I've heard stories and stuff that I've included in there that
It sounds like Matt's kind of angling for a consulting job here.
No, I'm not.
Sounds like I don't know.
Too many pages in that book to look at it.
One page at a time, Matt. One next card at a time.
On these limited pages that have to deal with the military.
No, it's actually kind of funny that looking at your document, have you guys ever heard of Old School Hack?
Yeah, the name. I don't know what it is.
Fucking great game. Oh, damn. Did I demonetize it? Anyway,
Doesn't it
Okay.
have story game elements in it though?
no, but looking at your
Let's
little
not
diagram you had,
let's
it's
not
very
get
similar to that kind of thing. It's like
let's not get distracted here.
Time out.
Oh yeah,
Rob says that. Rob said
Time
that.
out. Time out.
Wait, yeah, really.
I don't want to go down the story
Sorry.
game route
If we're not
tonight.
demonetized yet, I just did it. Rob is telling us not to get distracted. Rob is telling us to stay focused. I just want nobody has that on their bingo card. I can guarantee.
Yeah, I know.
That's not on anybody's bingo card that Rob is going to tell us to be focused.
Somebody call up Ivy and tell her to pick Tim up off the ground. He fell laughing his ass off right now in Barnes and Noble.
Yeah. There might be a medical reason for that. Oh my God! Sorry. I just had to mention that. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
the irony was thick.
I just don't want to debate story games, okay?
Yeah.
That's okay.
I don't like him either.
All right. So before we were told to get back on track,
Matt was making a point.
Yeah.
yeah, Matt, you were making a point. I'll give you 30 seconds.
I don't remember.
Can I show what I have?
No, we're trying to stay on topic, Rob.
Okay.
Uh,
The ball's been obviously thrown back at me. I have
uh,
no.
the
I
boy-
think somebody was going to show the original. Was that you, Rob?
That was Rob.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
gonna show the
I
original.
have the
Yeah,
original.
show the
all
original.
right. I had a timer going for Matt, but he's down to 9 seconds and he hasn't done shit. So.
What do they call it in the Senate when they give back their time?
Oh yeah, I relinquished my time
back
to
the
the
gentleman at the
honorable
in the Senate.
game designer from northwestern Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there you go.
That was pretty good, actually.
Okay. If you could show my screen, Eric.
All right, that's all we're showing. All right.
So what Greg is improving on is how Mongoose does, and what Mongoose. So this is what the original Traveler did, and they didn't really flesh out what happened to you, other than did you survive and did you get promoted?
Did you get a skill? Yes. Oh, I already have that one. Fuck.
You know, the guy in the bottom right corner looks a little bit like Garrick, doesn't he? A little bit, doesn't he? Look at that.
That's not your tavern keeper.
So Joe, you pick a career,
Uh-huh.
then you roll to see if you enlist in that career. If you fail to enlist, and this is all 2d6 d6 rolls, and when you see a throw like 7 or better, that's on 2d6. And if you fail to get a career, then you get drafted. That's what this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is for. And then every 4 years you roll. Do you survive? And this is where you can die in Classic Traveler. Because if you fail this, you're dead. And then you roll to see if you, in some services, you get, in some professions, you get commission, or you can get promoted. And then after you go through that, then you'll get another number of skill rolls. And then you can pick from these tables. And if you have a high education, you can pick from this table. So you can say, well, I got 3 skill rolls this term. I'm going to pick personal development and 2 advanced service skills. And then you roll and you'll see what you get. And you do this up until the rules support will say up to 7 terms, and then they force you to retire unless you rolled a nat 12 for re-enlistment, which is this roll here. Or you decide because they have aging rolls. So once you get to your fourth term, you have to make saving throws, or your strength, dexterity, endurance go down by 1. So, yeah, as you can see, they it sucks if you have to make. I had people start with an okay strength and they wind up retiring with like a 3 strength.
Jesus Christ.
So this is what Classic Traveler looks like, Joe. And what Greg's thing does, though, and it presents it in a nice, straightforward format like Classic Traveler, but it adds more color to it.
Yeah.
Like it actually fleshes out your background. Now, to say what Matt did about having somebody who's in the military vet the rules, well, that actually happened to me. So I ran a Traveler game for my friend Dwayne. Tim wasn't involved for this, and a group of his friends. and we decided to play Classic Traveler, not Mongoose, because they wanted to spirit the old school game. So I wrote this up, and then this is the combat chart from Classic
Jesus
Traveler.
Christ.
No, yeah, I know it looks bad, but you basically you only have one weapon, and it just tells you what you need to roll on a 2d6 or
Still,
better.
you need a ruler. You need a magnifying glass. Jesus Christ, man!
Well,
Look at that thing.
you know what? I'm going to make excuse. The book presented it all as modifiers, but here's the thing. So we played one session with this. Dwayne, who was a master sergeant in the United States Marine, looked at this and said, "This is bullshit. These numbers are bullshit." I don't know who the guy is that wrote this, but he didn't know what he was doing. Talking about Mark Miller here, and so what he did.
So Dwayne corrected you on that plasma gun in the bottom there. Is that what you're saying? Based on authenticity.
Well, no, he said it was bullshit. I said, okay. And then he didn't tell me what he was going to do about it. Then he comes back next week and hands me this.
I can see that at least.
And he went through, corrected all the ranges, all the weights, all the bonuses and stuff like that. And yeah, he corrected the plasma gun. He made up his figures. And the big innovation over the other one is that he added these sights. He said that the Classic Traveler didn't account enough the importance of having a proper sight on your weapon. So he came up with a bunch of modern day and what he felt was science fiction sights that you can attach to your weapon to get various bonus, as well as different types of stock that you can attach to your weapon, as well as different type of ammo that you can use for your weapon. But yeah, he burned this out in a week. I was impressed.
Storytelling game. Sounds like a storytelling game to me, Rob. Stay on topic, says Tim. We started this topic, speaking of topic, talking about Zine Quest. And I don't know how the hell we got derailed off of that shit. But is there anything you guys are back in this year?
Eric, what is it called?
Oh.
Zine Quest.
Oh, he didn't fall for it. Look at that. Give him another glass of wine. He'll be going signs.
You say tomato, I say Zine.
Let's go try Zine Quest, shall we, guys?
You gotta add Zine Quest.
2 years ago, who did like 23 interviews in like 17 days for that?
Nuts.
Did you call it zines or zines?
I probably called it
Zines.
I don't know.
Zines.
Yeah.
I called it what a New Yorker would call it. God damn it, the hell!
I remember driving in my car listening to one of the podcasts.
Now you say that,
and you're like, I'm gonna talk about Zine Quest, and I was like, I literally was in my car going, Zine.
Hey Matt, I have one for you. It's called Pocket Het, a solo RPG in 3 pocket mods.
I think I've seen. Wait, isn't that like on drive-thru or something?
There's a Kickstarter going for it right now.
Oh,
is it a zine?
Yeah, it's a zine.
Oh, yeah?
Pocket Quest, small solo adventure.
What have you guys backed this year? Anything? I haven't backed a freaking thing. Anybody? Anybody?
Nope.
Audience? Any suggestions in the audience?
On Kickstarter or Zine Quest? I'm gonna actually have to.
Doesn't the Silver Axe guy have a new one? I think I might have backed it just because he's got the cool topographical maps.
Oh, he did have those nice maps. Yeah.
I think he's got another one out. I don't really consider that a zine. I mean, it's a freaking professionally printed, but I don't want to get out.
That's actually a legit distinction, man. Because I don't understand it that much. Tim has asked and sort of appointed me as one of the mods in the Zine Quest group. I'm like, I don't know much about zines, but I could kick people off for being dicks. I could do that. Right. So, but what is the definition of a zine? How do you define it? That's the thing I struggle with.
But if you go back to the actual history of zines, they were sort of an underground alternative. I think a lot of the California punk scene kind of got in there, and then there was a whole movement of I think the gay and lesbian community got into a whole side project of that kind of stuff. There was like a whole scene on that, and like alternate art. I think there was like a poetry scene, but it's all. Oh, Mickey's got his squeaky toy. Sorry,
Okay.
Mickey, stop, buddy. The in my definition of a zine, and I can say I think if you utilize modern tools like affinity publisher and stuff, I'm okay with all that. I just think having it professionally printed, by a actual commercial printer rather than at home on your little laser
Hewlett Packard.
or whatever. That's where I kind of draw the line. Sorry, Mickey's really going for his point.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Oh,
Man.
Rob.
Who'd we lose?
Rob is gone.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I'm not begrudging those designers and those guys who do some of those things, because I mean, like the Silver Axe one, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I've backed those.
You only
I've backed
begrudge
a lot of them.
designers, right?
What's that?
I said you only begrudge designers, right?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the zine thing. It's 400 pages professionally printed by somebody. In my opinion, that's not a zine.
All right. Well,
It's an adventure or a supplement.
like Fantasy Geographic.
That's a
Issue
adventure
2
path. Yeah.
Fantasy Geographic issue 2 was a zine. By the way, Rachel's not behind me. 511 successful pledges.
You've backed 511.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I got like 50 or 60, and I thought I was like, oh, I'm a whore. Look at this.
No. I have no fucking soul, but I have 2 that I'm currently backing. Whisper and Venom, by none other than Zach Laser. I believe it's under Necromancer Games right now.
That closes soon, doesn't it?
It closes, I think, within a day. It was amazing when I got it in, I guess, the Labyrinth Lord version. So to get it in an OSD version, it's going to be up to date and cleaned up and all that stuff. I'm happy to be in for it. And Old School Solo Adventures, that is Doug Cole. The old B team I used to run on Friday nights.
Right here.
Yeah.
And one of them.
Yep.
Oh.
And
Can't see Rob. He's in the bottom.
he is one of the most on time, knows what he's doing, doesn't screw himself or his backers, Kickstarter creators that I've known. So I was like, hey, 4 solos. I can do 4 solos. Rach and I can spend one night a month going through some solos, and she'll get her a little bit more RPG experience. And otherwise, she only has conventions. And she's like, oh, ShireCon. She's like, oh, our table has 3 women. I'm like, yeah. And I guess what? Yeah, and Rach, you're probably going to be the most experienced. So carry the banner and hold it high. So
the banner of the Potato Lord.
Wow.
Flying right there. So nobody's really backing other than what you just said. Is anybody backing anything this year?
Well, here's the thing. In prior years, I was literally swarmed of people hitting me up with emails, PMs. Hey, I've got this project. Yeah. And it's like, I started really looking and digging and backing and reaching out to people. And then this year, I'm like, I'm not anxious to do a lot of Zine Quest interviews like I had done in the past, only because it drove me fucking insane to do so. This year, Rach is now retired, so it's not like I'm home alone. It's like, hey, I gotta squeeze 30 minutes out of the day in the middle of the day, get out of this room so I can talk about something that I don't know much about, but we're gonna do it. So I would be happy to cover it on the blog side, but nobody's really pushing it this year. I think they moved it up to.
I was wondering about that. You think the date change is the big deal?
They moved it up to work around Gen Con this year, and that was a poor decision.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Gen Con's taking all the steam out of their. Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, they should have kept it in February. I think when there ain't shit going on in February for anybody.
I think it returns next February too. So they kind of force your hand. Yeah, I think they announced you're going to do it again in February. So they kind of forced people's hands. And I mean, I agree. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think the zine scene doesn't really fit Gen Con.
No.
Gen Con's
I don't know.
big.
Gen Con is big, listen,
Yeah.
except for the Ennies, and the Ennies are not a quality. It's not. Hey, are these quality releases? No, this is.
Well, that's a
who
totally
can-
different scene, though. I mean,
Yeah,
even especially the Ennies became kind of like
a popularity
Bullshit.
contest, but a social
Yeah.
media popularity contest,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
best projects. Who can mobilize? And we saw that when Zach Smith mobilized everybody, right? When
Yep.
Zach Smith mobilized his social media, they went, "Oh shit, this."
Yeah.
Well, first we're gonna have to ban him because, and then, and now TSR. Why am I saying TSR? Wizards of the Coast no longer enters their stuff to the Ennies. Paizo no longer enters theirs. So now you're going to see like companies like Chaosium getting a lot of the awards because that's the next tier. When you take out the top tier of creators, whether or not you like the products they make, they are high quality production. That's.
It's interesting. John has thrown this comment. There's too much shit to buy. The OSR RPG scene is impossible to keep up with. I was thinking that lately myself. There was a central clearinghouse with Google Plus and whatnot, and it was a smaller scene. Now that it's spreading, it really is. I mean, there's shit you never heard of before that all of a sudden it came out, and I was like, how did I miss that?
It just means that it's just like every other niche in the industry now. You have, if you want to make a go of it, even if it's just a hobby publishing, you got to put some work into it. Yeah. I mean, I have my fans, but I have to work. I have to occasionally participate in social media. I have to get stuff periodically and be open to talking about it. And I have fun doing that. Like I have fun hanging out with you guys. But ultimately, if I didn't do any of this stuff, I would sell like 3 copies a year. So
right.
Matt, what are you putting out, man? What are you going to do? You should put some goddamn map books out or something again, dude.
Me?
Yeah, it's the one thing we all agree on. We bust your balls like to high heaven, dude. But, you're fucking great mapper. You got to put some shit out, dude. Come on. What the fuck? Lack of enthusiasm.
Sorry, work is, you guys are well aware, but work is eating my entire being. I was at work 6 hours today, or 12 hours today, and I got another 6 hours tomorrow.
Jesus
and next week's going to be balls to the wall crazy. But I will say, well, people are making changes, so things might be getting better. So
think, yeah. All right.
Maine awaits, buddy.
That's what I'm saying, man. You do like Maine.
To God's ears.
You do like Maine.
Well, it's interesting. Nobody gave a shit until I literally called the number 2 guy in the company and said,
"Yeah,
I'm done." All of a sudden,
it all goes.
Anyway,
you're holding it together. That's why,
Yeah. No, I'm looking at Zine Quest right now. Actually, I just spotted. You guys might never even heard of it. Dungeon in a Bag. You ever seen that before?
No.
They did one. I've seen it on some videos. It's like dungeon tiles that you build a dungeon. It's like a kind of a board game-ish thing.
Okay.
It's kind of neat. But there's a second one is on. It's called Bag of Dungeon 2. Terrible fucking name. But the Cursed Forest looks kind of pretty cool.
Actually, Paul, you mentioned have any minions back the Merry Mushroom titles Knock series. Funny you say that, dude. I have Knock 1 and 2. The Knock, and I realized I didn't get 3 because another thing I lost in a shuffle. So just last week I ordered Knock 3, and should be, I don't know when the hell, because I ordered the thing from France, not a reprint, right. So it's shipping across the sea, so I should have that.
Joe, but now you actually brought up something that I'm going to expand upon. You bought Knock 1 and 2. Have you read Knock 1 and 2? No.
I skimmed through, looked, I'm going to read this someday. And I put it on my table on top of the stack of things I'm going to read someday. And then that stack gets too high and I have to migrate it to the various shelves because I need room for more books that I bought because I'm going to read those someday. You see? Right. It's a cycle.
Yeah, see, that's honestly, I mean, I know Tim's not here, but he might be listening. I know
he's typing in here, man.
I know he's heard my thoughts on how our hobby became nothing more than a commercial enterprise, and my, I don't know, dismay at the dismantling of the wonderful blogosphere
Yep.
and Google Plus, and how it used to be everybody created stuff and shared it, and it just spurred creativity. And now it's like, instead of putting your stuff on a blog and Joe sharing it with Eric, and I mean some people still do, but it's really become I'm going to show you peaks of my stuff, like here's this little thing and here's this little thing, but if you want it all, Zine Quest next year, man.
or Patreon,
I mean,
or something.
I don't know.
Well, I can't speak for everybody.
Like curmudgeon or whatever, but I really feel like at some point our hobby became, let's see if we can sell something to everybody. And I think for a good number of us, like I used to do it. I used to have a Patreon, but really I never really made money on it, but I just turned that around and gave it back to the community because I bought more crap. And honestly, I see something I like now and I buy it. And other than that, I really don't throw money. Like, I mean, some of the zines are kind of cool. And I know a couple of the guys, and let's see, Minerallands. I back pretty much everything of his stuff. I love stuff, and that one you just mentioned, the solo one, I forget, Doug's. I backed it because that looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm a solo loser. I like to play games by myself, so like I'll give that a shot.
Right, and the adventures in Doug's are proven because they were originally written for, was it the fantasy trip? So
yes, they were written for the fantasy trip.
They were written for the fantasy trip, so it was just, all right, now we got to convert them to OSE and make sure. So you know that they're not going to be a solo where it says go to paragraph 72. It's like, what the fuck? This doesn't make any sense. You know all that shit's been worked out.
It's interesting.
I don't know, Matt, because if I throw a random dart out there, sure, the guy may be more commercial than it was back in the Google Plus day, but there are plenty of guys like me. I still give out shit. If you go to my stuff in the attic, a lot of that stuff.
I'm not saying there aren't those people out there, but it just seems like
a lot more.
And I think a little bit of it is the social media realm. There are still plenty of good OSR blogs out there. I've got a bunch linked on my blog. I mean, there's many ones that I go and read every once in a while.
You have a blog?
But yeah.
What?
Great joke. This keeps on coming back.
No, it's like herpes.
But yeah, no, I mean there are guys that are still putting out good stuff. I'm not saying there aren't. It just seems like we've moved, and like Tim said, he thinks the Zine Quest might have hit a saturation point. It's like now instead of there being cool stuff made, and that's one reason I did kind of move a little bit over to itch.io, because at one point there was a lot of creativity stuff being shared over there, and a lot of it was free.
What is that? What is itch.io? I've never heard of this.
That's where the one-page dungeon generator exists on, and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh yeah, you did give me that link for that.
Links that I share in our chat.
You did give me that link before. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, but it used to be a lot of the stuff on there was either pay what you want, or it was suggested price, but you didn't have to pay it. But it's even become much more of a paywall too. So
and here's the thing. I hear this because, listen, when it comes to things like the donated art for the Minions, I want to get shirts done. They're going to be at cost. It's probably going to have to be on individual order, because I only have one printing company that will do the shirts. Others, oh no, you might be violating somebody's copyright. So it's going to have to be on order. But I didn't pay for the art. I'm not going to make money off it. It's going to be at whatever the cost is. It's not going to be cheap, but I'm not going to make a profit off it. Yeah. And when I say, like, even things like when Continual Light comes out, I want the profit to go to the person who actually laid it out, because my new work on that literally comes down to paying for the cover. And I'm not looking to make a profit off it. And people get upset with me for me saying, well, I'm not looking to make money off it. I want to pay my layout guy, make sure he makes the money off it. Well, but this is you. People like you, meaning me, are what's wrong with this hobby. And I hear that. I do hear that.
because you're not trying to make money, because you're not trying to commercialize.
I make enough. I make enough.
You're a publishing slut.
Yeah,
Giving it away for free.
I make my money off.
I forgot Greg was still here.
I make money off affiliate sales, and even that, we gave.
Well, you want to hear a shocker, Eric?
Yeah,
I plan to make. I'm probably going to make everything open content, all of it.
I like that.
100%.
Well, and I don't begrudge people that want to make a little bit of money. I'm just saying that
I don't begrudge it either, but
I just don't.
Don't get pissed off at somebody who isn't in it necessarily for the money. I look at it this way: this hobby has done a great thing for me. I have a good pension. The monies that I made from this, even the affiliate monies, I gave away $250 a week and a half ago. We had 1,500 subscribers. It's the community's money. When there were GoFundMe's, for like Darlene, I do a match. Why? Because the community gives me the money to do so. I don't treat it as if it's money from heaven or my money. It's the community's money. How am I going to make this work best for the community? How are we going to enjoy it the most? To me, once this hobby becomes business, I don't think I'm going to be very happy anymore.
Aaron, it's funny you say that, because remember when it was just the blogs, and we're talking 08, 09, 10, and even maybe earlier, and Raji was talking about, are we just 150 people who keep buying and selling each other shit, right? Remember he said, right? Is that all we are? Is that the entire OSR is 150 people on Blogger who are talking about old games and buying each other's shit? And look how far we've come. Now the OSR has become a fucking label that Matt put out there, actually.
Right.
A logo. Right.
The OSC. What did the last Kickstarter do for them? Over $200,000.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going and striking beyond the weight that we thought we probably ever would have.
Yeah. We never thought. I thought it would be always 150 people sharing shit, because who gives a damn about old stuff except us, old guys,
But
Well, it's really interesting if you look at. I don't think I'm on it anymore, but I was on the OSE Facebook group for a while.
Right.
And I think I mentioned this before here. Every day, I swear, there was somebody on there that said, "Hey, I just found out about OSE. I started with 5e, and people keep mentioning this OSR thing. What is it? I'm interested in it." Every single day, there was somebody discovering OSR through 5e, and I don't know if they're a bunch of old curmudgeons. It was probably Joe. He was probably hanging out with a bunch of pink-haired weirdos, and it was like, "Hey, you should try this OSE stuff sometime." But there's a lot of people that eventually come try it, so it's definitely grown.
Yeah.
Well, I think people that experience the OSR, if you're coming from 5e, you come from Pathfinder, and I'm not saying that they're not good systems, but as Doug, we had Doug as a special guest, Doug Cole, on Wednesday night, and Doug said, when you play OSE, you play an OSR game, play Swords of Wizardry. When we had the B team, he goes, you can go through 9-10 encounters in a 3.5 hour session. He goes, if you're playing 5e or Pathfinder, you're lucky to get 2 or 3 in that time. You can accomplish a lot more in the same amount of time when you strip out, or you don't need a rule for everything. But it's about empowering the GM.
Yeah, Greg.
And that certain people scares me.
I don't have a rule for everything.
Well, 9 in 3 hours is generous for some people in OSR, like Tim, for example, because you do one, then you got to spend time rolling up a new character. Then you do another one, then you got to roll up a new character. So it really doesn't. It's more like 4 or 5 for him.
Well, I have to defend myself here briefly. Everybody except Matt on this podcast was in our Monday night game.
Yes.
Did that game go slow and have a rule for everything?
No.
It was good.
And
it was good.
I threw a lot of curveballs at you.
Yeah.
Because listen, I'm going to say this: if you want to ever play test an adventure, you can do no better than having other people that are GMs/game designers or adventure designers in your party, because they are going to push not only your system to the edge, but your adventure to the edge.
Greg did that to me with the Bronze Age game last year. Every time
Yeah.
I can't turn around, it's like, you motherfucker, and I got to change that shit. Kept breaking my shit. That's what I wanted him there for, you know? Does Rob know what a shocker is? Do you
But,
mean
you
the
know, you made me-
shocker, Tim? The shocker?
Oh, Jesus. Actually, you made me just wonder something, Eric. You know,
Yeah.
the younger generations, they don't like, you know, they're very much, and I'm speaking just in generalities, I'm sure I'll piss someone off, but they like instant gratification for a lot of things. And I mean,
Right.
part of that is social media. They want to be able to download their movies, their
Attention
shows, they want
span,
to listen
too.
to the music immediately.
Attention
I
span.
wonder what?
Attention span goes into that too.
Yeah, I wonder
Lack
how
thereof.
much of that is playing into, you know, they play D&D, and I haven't played 5e since it came out, so you know, I don't know that much about it. But from what I've heard, just like what you guys were just saying, it can definitely take longer to play, and you might only get one combat or one session or one encounter in, but then you go play OSE and you get, you know, days worth of entertainment in or play in a single session. I wonder how much of that is playing into that, where they're losing interest because it takes so long, and then they try something else and it's, you know, a little quicker, I guess, feedback for them than.
That's interesting. Good point.
I don't know. I wonder if that does. I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
I would say that would be the case for 4E across the board, and definitely for high level 3.5. But I don't know. I mean, I think for 5E, I mean, it depends on how much shit you throw in it. If you
Well,
stick
and
with the
I
three,
think-
if you stick with the 3 core books, then the answer is probably no. I mean,
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
and just
Joe,
like
Joe, you played in
said,
my campaign. There was more than one combat a night.
Oh yeah. But
Well,
5e
and
Rob does go slower combat wise than
We're
older
also,
editions.
we're also
no
Yeah,
seeing
doubt.
other
yeah.
games that are moving towards a speed resolution without being OSR or anything. I
Yep.
mean, Alien being a primary example for me. I mean, that game moves fast as hell,
Yeah.
and it's intense, and you know, you're not making a whole bunch of roll. You're making, you know, you get one roll, and then you might be dead. You know, so it's like. Matt, I saw a YouTube video about playing that game solo recently.
what?
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
I'll try to find you a link. Yeah,
That seems weird. It's like a mystery. How do you?
I
do that?
don't know. I just remember seeing it. I heard the name from you, but I don't know anything about the game. I just heard
such a
you talking
beautiful
about it.
book. It's you just got it, didn't you, Joe?
What do you got there? What the, I'm sorry. What is this? Oh yeah, Vasen. Yeah. What the hell is Eric just chowing down on? Oatmeal and pretzel. What?
No.
Cheese and pretzel
Cheese
balls.
and pretzel balls. All right. So the
Cheese
back
and
tip
pretzel
up. What the hell is he?
Low carb.
Got some cheese balls.
I did get the Vasen book. The I didn't buy the system, Matt. I think you bought the whole package. I only bought.
Well, I've got the book and the first adventure, the core rule book, the first adventure book. This was the second. Ooh, I backed this on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has got Mythic Britain and
That's
Ireland.
what I got. Mythic Britain and Ireland is the one I
And
got.
I think this one is adventures. Honestly, I've been so busy I haven't even looked at the damn thing.
That's what happens. Yeah, and it goes
I'm
on your
start-
table. And it
I'm
goes
starting
back
to
on
get
the
more
shelf.
and more skeptical though whenever I see a beautiful book. It's like, well, is it going
Yeah,
to
but
be
this
really good?
actually runs
Is
on
it
the
going to
same
be good?
system.
Yeah.
This runs on the same system as Alien.
Well, I gave
Oh, okay.
it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I
it's
gave
just
it a
tweaked
look
little
through.
bit.
Yeah, it's their year 0 system, and I downloaded the SRD for year 0, and it looks intriguing. I haven't been. I don't know. I got too many irons in the fire to try another thing, but I haven't saw a system that said, you know, I could do something with that since Age, Green Ronin's Age system. In year 0, I looked at it and I think I could do something.
Yeah,
And that Alien game you ran, Greg, really sold the possibility.
That was fun. It was fun. I'm not a space game guy, but that was kind of fun.
Yeah, the third module for it just came out recently.
Really?
I haven't picked it up yet. It's kind of the thing where, you know, once I have it, I'll read it and then I'll be like pushing my game group to play it, and I don't want to be.
Yeah,
I want them to tell me, hey, let's
No,
play this.
I'd be
Yeah.
happy to play another couple of sections of Alien.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome! Did
It was
did
good.
you ever play the second one where you're on the team of Marines? It's all Space Marines.
No. I was
Okay, well, let's
the
run
loader.
that sometimes because that one's good. That one's really good, also.
No.
You're basically a squad of Marines. There's like I think 6 Marines and 1 android, and he's actually a good android for once.
Sure.
You're kidding me.
That's how you lure him in. I was the
Yeah.
bad android in the last game. Then I whose guy did I kill?
Yeah.
Did I kill? Who did I kill?
You shot Tim because
Rob, didn't you?
Rob. I thought I killed
I,
Rob.
I
You
shot
killed
him.
Rob,
I
yeah.
shot Joe.
Yeah, you shot me and I killed your ass, didn't I? That was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you rolled like 6 dice and they all came up successes or something like that. I was like,
Yeah.
bam.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just obliterated him.
Yeah.
That was fun. Sorry, Rob.
Hammer the break.
Well,
What's the new one
Rob
called?
knew for sure that somebody was a secret android.
Yeah.
He just accused the wrong guy.
And he goes, and I think it's boom. That was the end of that.
Yeah.
Couldn't take the chance. I forgot how I justified it, but it was just fun.
Yeah, see, I really like their system. I really like the idea of Tales in the Loop, but it just, I don't know. I don't really like the execution of it. And then I'm kind of hung up on Vaesen because Vaesen isn't combat at all. It's actually supposed to be more of resolving mysteries on how to defeat monsters. And it's more, I mean, there is combat, but it's more about being creative and figuring out the mystery. And I don't know, me as
It reminds
a GM,
me of the old TV show Grimm. Remember that?
yeah, I didn't really care for that show. But yeah.
I thought it was similar because you're right. And this thing you had these weird monsters and these investigators set in London and this and that, and it was kind of the same kind of vibe.
Actually, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly what Vaesen is, and it's.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Grimm was set in modern times. It was that there was these Grimms and mythological creatures. Honestly, Matt, I bought the book because I thought it was a book, a different retelling or reskinning of traditional Irish and English monsters and myths. The red caps and blah blah blah. But because I don't buy a book for a new system, because as we said before, I'm too old to learn any new system. I was just looking for a different take on some traditional monsters that I could throw at the players that they're thinking it's this, but no, it's that. It's an evil leprechaun who's gonna, just take your
I haven't
scalp.
looked at this adventure, but the other adventure book I have, I really liked because it really goes into understanding the NPCs, because the NPCs are the key to figuring out the mystery and everything. And had some really neat ideas on how to deal with them and how to use them as a GM in the adventure. I really liked it, but I just don't know if I could pull it off, honestly.
It just takes the commitment up front. I mean, we're starting a new game, my brother now, and I'm it took him a lot, and he's just reskinning Temple for a different thing, but he's got a big backstory, blah blah blah. But it's the amount of work you put into it. Like, I'm off next week, and all I'm going to be doing is prepping for my 2-week game that's not starting for a couple more months, and I already got a tremendous amount of prep done. But that's all I'm going to do. Like the last summer, I had that week off. I'm watching my brother's dog when he goes to Disney, same deal. And I did the whole Bronze Age thing. Now I'm doing the whole prep for this 2-week thing. It just takes a lot of freaking time. I know you don't believe in that too much, but the prep.
All right, but Joe,
I just want to get in and have fun.
Are you going to use the skills and powers?
No.
And swords book?
No. I
Come
looked
on,
at
throw
them.
in some weapon speed and
Oh God, no.
stuff like that.
I am scaling it. No. I scale some stuff back, but for the most part, any house rules I'm doing is bringing in things to make the classes a little more robust and fun. A few more things they could do, and to make like the thief who can't do shit until like 8th level. I'm giving him a little boost in skill points at earlier levels, stuff like that to make it more engaging for the people. I'm taking some ideas from newer games and putting it in there, but it's still the 2E chassis without all the 2A stupid fluff.
Can I be a blade singer?
No. But I tell you what, those books are hit and miss so much, man. Because I'm looking at the brown complete book of whatever the hell, right? Gnomes, fighters, barbarians.
So the complete book of whatever.
Yeah.
Complete book of fucking over a campaign.
Right.
There you
But
go.
I'll tell you, The complete book of Halflings and Gnomes is a combined book. Fan-fucking-tastic. I love it. It's great. I'm stealing wholesale. The Gnome Village is perfect. The complete book of Dwarves sucks ass.
The Bards book actually isn't big because you get good flavor for certain.
Well, I've banned Bards because Bards.
Bards are evil.
I'm
Don't
sorry,
ever use
Joe.
Bards.
I have no comment on 2E stuff. I was in the middle of buying all my GURPS book.
Ah, okay.
Listen, I got
2E was
my handbooks, my complete handbooks free thanks to somebody who was probably smoking a lot of weed at the TSR Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum. And one Eric, this one, was ordering one complete book and a poster. And some other Eric wanted every complete book in the series and no poster. And the other Eric got a poster. And I got a big, huge box of books. And I never answered my phone or returned any of the messages that were left on my answer machine. You got to call back. You got to send them back via UPS.
Guy probably
You
got fired.
You got it. My roommate was in law school. He's like, no.
Never got him. Never received them. I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. It was up on my doorstep. Nobody signed for shit. Thank you.
That's good, man. My mess ups are always in the other way. I had to call my credit card company this week because my payment, they applied it twice to the credit card. And I'm like, God damn it. If I don't tell them they did this, someday it's going to hit me. You know what I mean? In a bad way. Someone's going to, like, all right, I'm going to tell them right now.
Not in your favor.
Yeah, that's it. Well, this one's, this was in my favor. They credited double 50. So I call them up and she's like, I said, hey, you made a mistake on my credit card, my payment. She goes, and I could tell where she thought I was talking about. So yeah, you gave me, you credited too much. She goes, huh?
Say what?
I got to call the main office for this.
Wait. Yo, we actually got to, no, we got a call where we fucked up in their favor and they're calling us.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let's gather the office. Everybody gather around.
This jackass is calling up saying we fucked up.
This is one of those fabled phone calls that you hear about, but you never get. Enjoy.
Oh, man. Yeah. God, you guys got anything else coming in the mail? Any new books or anything you bought recently?
Yeah, but you don't want to hear about them.
Oh, what do you got? Let's hear it.
I've been checking out a game called Fistful of Lead. It's a skirmish war game that is
Old West.
What?
You say that, I think Old West.
Well, the original game was actually written as a Old West, like gunfight kind of thing, skirmish thing, and it's expanded now, and there's like every genre you can think of. And then actually, for those of you out there who are into the 3D printing thing, through that I found one, and I know what Joe's going to say. It's called One Page Rules. It is a it's a reimagining, I guess you could call it, of Warhammer and Warhammer 40K.
Okay.
It can be distilled down to one page, but they actually have rule books. I think they're about 16 pages long. But if you go onto their Patreon, they do STLs for their minis. And let me just tell you, their minis are fucking fantastic.
Really?
They are
Nice.
amazing. Yeah, they're just badass. And it's like you can do like $5 a month or
throw a
$10
link up,
a
man.
month.
Throw a link up. Erica shared a link to everybody. That's cool.
It's hold on. I
Put the link in a private chat.
got the little thing here I printed out, so maybe I'll do a little game myself. But
you do have a YouTube channel, right, Matt? I mean, no busting balls. You have a channel somewhere, right?
yeah, but I don't ever do videos.
That's I'm never going to understand this solo play thing you're doing until I see you do it. You can describe it until the cows come home, but until I see it done, just get one of those cameras that aim down at the table and do the game for a half an hour.
Make sure you're wearing pants.
Yes, please. No tidy whities.
Okay, and keep your hands where we can see them at all times.
There you go.
I'm just making sure.
But I kind of want to see it. Until I see this shit in action, no amount of description is going to have me understand what a solo game is.
You won't play it anyway, so why?
But I'm legit curious, and other people are out there are probably as curious as I am. I may not play it, but
there's all kinds of videos. There's people that play OSC solo. There's people that play. Go on YouTube and type in Swords and Wizardry solo, or there's one guy that does pretty good videos. It's I think he's doing Mystara solo. That's pretty good. Yeah, and there's a couple of guys that do like OD&D solo. And they
Pendragon.
Yeah, there's like, well, there's what's that one? Iron Sworn. I don't.
Oh yeah. I just literally downloaded the PDF as we were talking.
That one gets. I like it a little bit. You know me, I'm freeform. I like it a little bit more loosey goosey. And Iron Sworn is sort of the golden child of the solo gaming. There's like a lot of people. There's also a space version, I believe, but it's a lot of
the download page.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices, and I think it's great. It's just I think it's kind of like when you have those games of those life path where you choose this, then you
It's the only thing I could think of is the Lone Wolf games, the books. Remember from when we were kids, those Lone Wolf adventures. It's the only thing I could think of that relates to what you're talking about here.
Yes, I mean, like here I have who does these D4 Caltrops. They do these kick-ass pages where it's like a hex. And so I have a bunch of these printed out and I use those, and my guy stumbles into a hex and I'm like, hey, what's there? Roll a D12. Tell you what's there. I mean, I like it a little bit more loosey-goosey, and I use a lot more prompts that cause me like, and Joe, you probably do the same thing when you're pre-genning your game. You're like, oh, I need an idea. I can't think of something. You roll some dice on a table and you're like, oh, I didn't think of a dragon right there. Oh, that sounds cool.
I do the opposite, Matt. I sit on the back porch. I
what do you do?
pack a bowl. I pack a bowl. I look into the sky and I start taking some hits. And I'm thinking, and I let this shit spiral in my head for like 3 hours. And when I'm done, I come inside.
You never use any random tables to like spur when you like get writers?
No, like that Tome Adventure Design shit. It's cool in concept, and every once in a while I look at it, but I don't get anything off of it. I know Tim does that all the time.
Toad, I never roll on.
No,
or if I do roll on, I roll 4, 5, 6 rolls, and then I go, all right. Now, what do I like? What talks to me out of what I've rolled? Yeah. And a lot of times it means, all right, I like this, but I need something else. I don't take it as is unless it really speaks. Sometimes it speaks. A lot of times it doesn't.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I do it. If I roll a couple times and I'm like, man, that don't really just isn't clicking for me, then and that's one thing I really discovered through trial and error. It seems like every one of these damn shows we start talking about solo games, guys.
Well, it's because we're all kind of curious. I mean,
I dropped a link if you want to move forward to a game called Star Smuggler. It's from the 80s. It's one of the earliest solo games. It's basically like a 25-page hex crawl kind of thing for you're moving around as this guy who's a smuggler.
Yep.
And I mean, it's not. It has some drawbacks. It's tedious. It can be difficult.
Yeah. That's Barbarian Prince, man. That is like the holy grail of it. Barbarian Prince is like everybody talks about how it's like the grandfather Bible of solo gaming is the Barbarian Prince.
Did that Tales of the Manticore podcast get you into the solo thing, Matt? Because that's the closest thing I could think of. He jazzes it up severely, but
it started getting the gears turning, and
I do like that show. That's really
good. No, I really like it. But I think the thing that really is good about that is he really turns it into almost like an audiobook.
Yeah, he does.
Actually, listen, if you've listened to how he actually does it, he actually plays it out in advance, and then he goes back and he adds in the
fills
story.
In the yeah.
So it isn't just exactly solo role playing, but I mean,
he soups it up a lot.
But it's great. I like it.
I got like 25 episodes in, and then I just stopped. And then I'd stopped for too long that I realized I have to go back and listen to the first 25 episodes again, and I didn't go back.
Yeah, really. The only time I've listened to it recently is when I have a long drive. I drove up to Illinois a couple months ago, and I listened to like, I don't know, 30 episodes on the drive there and back. So
yeah,
no, I liked it, but yeah, that really got me kind of going on it. And then I think. I guess this is probably just like a thing you don't really get role playing. You don't understand it, and you struggle trying to understand it. And then one day, it's kind of like riding a bike. It just clicks, and then after that, you're like, oh. Like I had a lot of problems with looking at people using oracles, and things were just, I've got a table that I do this, and then it tells me to do this, and then it tells me, and that's just too formulaic for me. I'm like, I don't like that at all. And I just kind of started trying a bunch of things and a little bit of loosey goosiness to it, and it just started flowing. And like Eric said, I roll on a table, and if it doesn't make sense or it just doesn't click for me, I just disregard it. I mean, why try to force a square peg in a round hole?
Right.
That's
what I do.
Yeah, move to the next thing. And then, I mean, there's been times where I just got stuck, and I go walk the dogs, and then while I'm walking the dogs, I'm like, oh, kobold won't work, but a Komodo dragon, that sounds cool. Fuck it,
Yeah.
I mean, who are you gonna piss off? It's just me playing.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just kind of what I did, and honestly, I haven't done it in a while. I didn't get burnt out. I just got so busy with work, I haven't gotten back to it. But I really like it. Actually, damn, what was that?
So Matt, how would what you do, solo adventure, the solo stuff, differ, say, from what Douglas Cole is offering with the?
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen his stuff, but I think, isn't it kind of
choose your own adventure? Choose your own adventure,
it's not really choosing your own adventures. Had no dice, no combat related. This is more like a Tunnels and Trolls adventure where you got encounters, you've got other stuff, and you have to fight out the battles when you run into them. So it's not like an endless quest book or a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, and the things I was doing was more. I had the most fun when I was doing like hex crawl, where I was just using tables to randomly generate what was in a hex and then dealing with the consequences of that. I didn't really get into I did a couple dungeon explorations, and they were pretty cool. But I actually, a couple weeks ago, I actually wrote it on my blog, a game called Note Quest, which it is totally OSR. If you make it through the dungeon without dying at least 4 or 5 times, you are. Yeah, John just kind of nailed it right there. Mine's more randomly generated, but I think mine isn't completely randomly generated. I think mine is kind of, if you've ever heard mind mapping, where you kind of put two ideas together and you kind of just, your brain kind of links them and you come up with that's kind of more what I did. But no, if you want to see a cool game that's very OSR, very much dungeon exploration, look up Note Quest. It's by a Portuguese guy, I think, but it is. I wrote it on my some stuff on my blog. I talked about it, games I ran with it. That thing is absolutely fantastic. You randomly generate the dungeon as you play, rolling dice, and I think the first time I did it, I think I got about 7 guys killed, and then I had one guy that was successful.
I don't know. That doesn't sound. That's not exactly a recommendation.
Yeah, but it is fantastic. And if you die, if you follow the rules the right way, if you die, you can roll up another character, and your guy just, Joe the gnome just died in room number 2. Well, Joe, before he died, found 20 gold pieces and a +2 sword. Well, that shit is still sitting there. So when you make a new guy, you go and you beat the monster in that room, you can pick up all of Joe's shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally is the old school. You don't really advance in the game. You can in the advanced rules. They have advanced rules for it, but you advance by finding stuff and making your character better that way.
Oh, so you're playing Fantasy Traveler.
Sure.
Traveler doesn't have. It's famous for not having a XP system.
I really, really like Note Quest, and if anybody's interested in like OSR games and they want to try a solo thing, I think you can get the free version, which is the basic. I think that's what I got.
Is there anything besides combat, Matt?
There's also a game called Dwarf Mine. I was going to bring up. I dropped the link in, and it's not really like an RPG, but you're building the dungeon of the dwarf. The dwarves. You're the dwarves that are building it, and you kind of randomly roll it out and do it as a solo adventure thing. So it's a good example of just another way of running the game yourself. Sorry,
That,
go
that
ahead,
actually
Joe.
sounds a lot like Delve. There's a pretty popular game called Delve, which is, I have not played it, but I've seen a couple of videos on it where it's a group of dwarves and you're building the dungeon as you play. And so like you get resources and you build your dungeon. So you want a temple here, but I haven't tried that one.
Well, this one has a Jackson-esque map, so that's what attracted me to it first. So,
Oh, cool.
Is there anything besides combat, Matt? Because I
In
mean,
the
obviously you
basic
can't
game-
role play with yourself, right?
No,
I mean,
in the
it's kinda
basic
weird.
game, no. In the advanced game, you can actually, I won't say it's role playing, but it's there. Joe, it has shopping in it.
Hey,
You
now
know,
we're
shopping.
talking. Should have led it with that.
Yeah, you can sell your stuff and you can hire hirelings. Like
Yeah.
that's actually my one character that I did really good. I went. The secret, honestly, is I think it's dwarves have the special ability that they can unlock a door. So when you get to a room, I don't want to get too much into it, but when you get into a room or when you get to a room, there's a door, and if you bash the door down, or you have to break, or you break through the door, or you fail in unlocking the door, the monsters get to attack you. But if you're a dwarf, you can pick the lock, and if you pick the lock, you get a peek in the room, and if you want, you can surprise the monsters.
You know,
And I had a dwarf, and he kicked ass. I think it's a dwarf, might be a gnome actually.
Oh,
which-
whoa.
hey,
terrible
now we're
taste in my
talking.
mouth. But yeah, no, that was how I actually did really good. Was I was able to open doors, and if it was something I knew I wouldn't win, I'd back out. And you don't like you can actually like sneak through a room instead of fighting if you want. It's pretty cool. I definitely recommend trying it out. But I really like NoteQuest, and you map out the dungeon as you play. Like I said, if you go to my blog, I wrote up some crap about it. I actually made a couple sheets because, like I said, it's originally in Portuguese, and one guy remade some of the documents, but he's in Spain or somewhere. So they're all in that crazy A4 weird format. So I remade them in letter format for us American blokes.
Here's, I'll give you Matt's blog link there. Here is because he does have a blog. As much as I bust his balls, he does have a blog. So is it safe?
Post maps there?
Yeah. Is it something to say then would be accurate that it is like because all I'm thinking as you describe this is the dungeon board game, but you're making up the map of it as you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it sounds like a board game that you play with by yourself and you make the board up as you go.
Yeah, but it's surprisingly engaging. There is no role playing. Don't get me wrong; it's not a role playing game, but it is a solo dungeon exploration game, I guess you could call it.
Okay.
And it actually has the advanced rules. Actually have some hex stuff. You can go to a city and have a city adventure, because cities will have sewers and Jesus, criminy, the sewers in there, freaking deadly. I haven't beat a sewer yet because and it's cool because if you get the book, each dungeon is represented by 2 pages. So every dungeon has different things that you randomly roll for treasures, magic items, monsters, traps. So every different dungeon, and I think the advanced one has like 15 different dungeons in it.
So like you could roll up a bunch of rats and then like say 2,000 coppers.
Sure.
Put it in the same. Put it
But
in
if
the
you
same.
go to the
Boy,
sewer,
that
you
one
gotta
is
run
never
into
gonna die.
in the catacombs.
Matt, bring that shit up when you come up in September. It just,
Okay.
you know what I mean? I'll try it. I'll give it a shot. You could guide me through the process. I mean, give it
Well,
a
and
shot.
I think you could actually play it.
Wait a minute. So you want Matt to be your sensei?
Hey, you can do it. Enough
I
beer
would
in this
teach you
will be
how
good.
to play with yourself.
Oh,
Matt, teach me how to play with myself. Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Please make sure when we're at ShireCon, you tell everybody that I taught you how to play with
I will absolutely. I'll wear a shirt. Just like yours right there, I'm going to wear a shirt.
taught me to play.
This guy right here.
Oh,
Is there a better ending than that to the show?
I don't think we can top that.
Yeah.
So here I'll do a wrap up. First off, folks, listen,
Use your common sense, folks. Use your
Yeah,
common
no,
sense.
we're not even at that point yet. Fuck you.
We're in a world of monkeypox.
You gotta say
motherfuckers.
he's got a doctor.
If you want to know, if you want to learn how to play with yourself, go to Matt's website, msjx dot ms
Orgy.
off.
Oh my gosh.
What does that stand for anyway? What the hell is that? I mean, what I got the M is Matt, the J is Jackson. What's the S and
It's
X?
my initials, and then MSJ was already taken. So I was like,
Because the action, the action Jackson. I get it.
yeah.
I
yeah.
get it.
I actually, when I was a teenager, I went through the phase where I took Jackson and it became JAXON. And I was like, I'm going to change my name to that. I never did, but.
Well, not.
But no, really, I took it because it's 4 letters. It's my initials plus the letter X. And I was like, it's 4 letters because everybody says a domain name that's 4 letters is like gold. So
it's like gold, folks. And if you want to go to Bat in the Attic, go to the Bat in the Attic blog. Is that .com there or .blogspot.com?
batintheattic.blogspot.com.
don't even know domain name?
He's
I have a Bat in the Attic domain. It's just for my website.
In any case, you can go there. You can go to either one. Matt won't take your money. Rob might. All right. So
Rob's got kids to feed.
Rob's got kids to feed. Matt's kids are all old and Matt should be retired. He just hasn't figured that part out yet.
Right? Am I right? I'm busting his balls all week about that shit, but I think we all agree.
No,
motherfucker.
He should be a greeter at Walmart if he wants to.
Seriously.
Are you kidding? People that shop at Walmart? Sorry.
Greg, the Russet Lord, the Mr. Potato with the bling, will probably have some new material coming out soon. Oh, who's dropping in? No. We're wrapping up. Your brother's not coming in.
Oh, he's dropping. We're out of here.
We're done. We're not adding the good mic. It's like a bad omen. It ain't happening. Joe does not actually publish anything.
No.
If he did, it would probably be good.
He has a ton of material that he won't
Bronze
publish.
Age RPG is the look for it. Bronze Age RPG if you ever get around to publish.
It's not anywhere. It's just
I've offered him free layout work. He won't publish anything.
I got a ton of shit.
Just saying, at some point we may have to shame Joe, not have him shaming other people on this.
Oh, it's more fun to shame others.
But we're gonna shame Joe.
First, we got to get
Joe. Are you the original shamer with the whole 2000 copper piece incident?
Yeah, that was my blog, Rob. It went viral in like between.
No. I remember that, but are you the original out of the whole OSR?
Yes, no.
He was the one who found the coppers.
Yeah. I was the one.
And I'm the one that said if there's 9 rats in this room for the last 100 years, the pile of shit must be pretty deep.
Yeah.
And it just went beyond at that point.
Yeah.
I ran the session, so
I posted the blog in the morning, Rob.
Yeah.
I got up, I took a leak, I got up, I sat down with one eye open just to check the blog. My dog is wagging his tail like, take me out, motherfucker. And I'm like, let me hammer this out first, buddy. I hammered out the recap of the night, and then I went and took the dog out, and 15 minutes later I had like hundreds of views. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the hell happened?
Everybody likes what I do, climbing that mountain.
And you broke Grenardia.
Climbing the mountain. Yeah, he told me what James Raggy told me. Climbing the mountain is that's a weird kind of. I like kind of dig the name though. What Raggy told me was that after Gen Con he'd be willing to come on. Gen Con just ended, so my thought was we all got shit going on. End of the summer, September, Labor Day,
October,
school, back to school shit. So I figure September, October. Yeah. So he did say he would join.
It'll likely happen. I'm sure James will tolerate me because I'm probably his largest critic. That's because I've enjoyed a lot of his work, and I'd like to see the referee book, which I thought was one of the best pieces he ever did. The new version actually come to existence, but we won't even go.
So what's the deal with the binder on the chair?
Oh God,
that's just a cock tease, man. It's a cock tease. Again, if we haven't been demonetized yet, I'm making sure we get there. He said he would only appear if he was allowed to be naked. I veto that. If that is a requirement, I will veto that also. I don't
didn't
care
say
what
that.
he. I don't care
That'd
what
be
he
funny,
holds
though.
in front of his kibbles and bits. It ain't happening, folks. If you want to support this channel, there is a join button below. It's $1.99 a month. Climbing the mountain is somebody who joined. You see a little special mark next to them, and they appear as green in the chat. You get a few extra tchotchkes, but really what it does is it helps support this channel.
So did Paul Catrone. Shout out to Paul Catrone.
Paul,
nice.
yes, thank you. We have a nice handful. We'd like to increase it. Listen, I can well right now. I mean, I really can't. Rob, I'm not going to get him a better mic or a better headset because he seems to be doing pretty well with what he has. But I had to do it with Glenn, and God, it's been a godsend. So this is all monies that you have raised either through the ads or through supporting this channel. So that it really helps. Other than that, now we'll get to the I'm not your father, I'm not your mother, use your fucking common sense. How's that sound?
Common sense.
We're in a
sounds
world,
good.
it's an endemic, it's no longer a pandemic.
Are you guys subscribing to yourself?
I just subscribed. Yeah. I mean, what the hell?
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Matt, thank you. Oh my God, I don't know.
I didn't realize that was a thing. I guess
I didn't
just
either.
never
I didn't know you could do this shit. That's cool,
Yeah.
man.
I'm over Klimt.
Yeah.
Hey, you can actually use like emojis now, like a beer mug. I got to figure out how to do it, but it's fine.
John, my blog is down, but what I did was I started a YouTube channel. All right. So I just took the blog down because there's a lot of
What
older
is your
shit, blah,
YouTube
blah, blah.
channel, sir?
The YouTube is youtube.com/JoetheLawyer. There it is.
There you go.
So it's easy enough. And it's the Analog Man Cave is the overall title, which kind of went by the wayside after all that work. That
Joe the Lawyer is much easier to remember than
it is, yeah.
Analog Man Cave. Folks, be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. I will be back again tomorrow with my wife, Rach. We will do Gamers Health. I've been getting some great feedback. Climbing the mountain, I got your email. Or was it I think it was an email. Or your PM on Discord. Awesome stuff. This is why we do this, though. We do this because it's community. We have fun on this. Bad Mike fucking trolls us every fucking Friday we do the show because it's the only live stream he gives a shit about. Probably beyond the one he does himself. All right. On that note, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Good night,
Bye,
folks.
guys.